Record. So, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for listening. And today I have got Danika Meher with me, all the way from the US of A. Welcome, Danika. Lovely to see you here.
Thanks for having me.
And so, what is it that you enjoy outside of your work, which we won't talk about, but it's quite taxing at times, I should imagine.
It can be. It can be. Oh, that's a great question. What do I like to do outside of work? I am an avid reader. I love to read. Give me a book in a corner, and I'm good to go. Mostly fiction if I'm gonna relax. And yeah, or going out. I live in Arkansas, which is known as the natural state, and so they have a lot of state parks, national parks here, waterfalls, hiking trails. So sometimes I'll meet a friend and we'll go walk a trail or just be out in nature for a little while, and that's also very relaxing.
Yes, and with your novels that you enjoy reading, do you enjoy a cuppa or something a bit stronger?
I love to drink a cup of tea. I'm addicted to different kinds of tea. Right now I've got
Ah,
my green tea going on.
yeah.
For the afternoon, I started my morning out with my English breakfast tea.
Oh, and have you ever tried a loose leaf tea called spiced chai tea?
I have tried chai.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And was it a spiced chai rather than a perhaps a slightly, a sort of plainer tea?
I've tried a variety of chais. So
Hmm?
I have a friend and she actually like mixes all the spices in herself, like the
Oh,
cardamom, all that. And it's pretty tasty, I have to
mm.
admit. It's pretty good.
And
Yeah.
something I did the other day, I put some spiced chai and put very little boiling water on it so it steeped.
Mhm.
And then I let it go cold. Then I added it and had a gin and tonic with it.
Ooh, how was that?
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could really taste the flavors of the spices. Yeah.
I might have to try that. That sounds interesting. I don't usually do gin and tonic. I'm more of a whiskey girl.
Okay.
So yeah,
Not sure
but
how it would go in whiskey, but it might.
yeah, I don't know. That would be an interesting
Yeah,
combination to
because
try
they're
for
sort of warm
sure.
spices. So whiskey's a sort of warming kind of spirit, isn't it? So
Mhm.
it might work.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
Experimental time.
Now I have something to try, something new. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
That's what life's all about, isn't it? Experimenting and
Absolutely.
doing different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned, so going back to you saying that you go on trails and things,
Mhm.
that sort of hiking, not sort of mountaineering type hiking, is that sort of
No.
no?
Yeah, no. That's more dangerous than I want to get into at this
Ah, yeah.
point. I'm no longer 16 and bulletproof. So I like to stick to the trails, a little off trail maybe, depending on what's out there, if it's not too crazy. But I'm not hanging off the side of mountains by my fingernails or anything like that. I'm gonna leave that to people that practice that one on the regular.
And do you have sort of wildlife that you have to be aware of that is out there, and you
Oh
have to be a bit
yeah.
careful?
Yeah. So in Arkansas, they have bears, we have deer, mountain lions.
Oh,
Snakes are the one I don't like.
yes,
And then
I'd
as it
agree
gets
with you.
warmer, the snakes really come out. And
Yeah,
we have several venomous snakes here. Mountain
right.
rattlers, coral snakes,
Mm.
copperheads.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So
nice.
I prefer to stick to the trails that people are on because more people mean fewer snakes,
Yes.
generally speaking. Someone else has hopefully already scared them away.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree with you there. Yep. I certainly wouldn't be going off trail whatsoever if I knew they existed.
Right?
I,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not. Those are not my friends there. Not my style. I'll stick to I'll stick to the paved trail or the marked trail
yes,
that's used regularly, and hopefully avoid a lot of those snakes.
yeah,
'Cause-
yeah. But I guess yes. I mean, in the wilds, they were there before us, weren't they? Really,
Yes.
were
Yes.
the intruders, as it were.
We are the intruders.
We
Yes.
are. Yeah.
We whatever it are. Yeah. Well, and they get very offended if you step on them, and
Oh,
I
well,
can't
yes.
blame them.
I think I might too.
Yeah, I would be offended if someone walked on me while I was trying to take a nap. So I'm not upset about that. I just want to try to avoid stepping on. You can
Uh,
be
Absolutely.
courteous,
Yeah. Yeah. I
should we
don't.
say?
I don't think a snake bite or anything else would be very pleasant. But there we go. I mean, I'm sure it does happen to people,
Yeah, I'm sure.
but I hope not a lot. Yeah, it's not that pleasant. And of course, with it being spring, do you have amazing blossoms out there?
Yeah, everything turns real green here. We've got a lot of rain lately.
Mm,
Parts of the state have flooded. It's been crazy. The weather's been really wild. But we've got beautiful purple irises in our front yard, and the trees are all blooming. Crepe myrtles and the dogwoods and the red
nice.
buds
Yeah.
and then everybody's flowers. I don't know all the flowers, but tulips and daffodils
Oh,
are
nice. Yeah.
blooming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spring flowers. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
they don't last long. That's the trouble. You look forward to them all. They're gone in a blink of an eye, aren't they? They sort of,
Yeah.
oh,
They really are. Yeah, yeah. You have to catch them while they're there because they go away and something else takes their place. And so,
yes.
yeah,
But it's nice to have the difference, between the sort of early spring, so you've got the sort of snowdrops to start,
yeah.
and then you sort of go into daffodil season, and then tulips, and then of
Hmm.
course the summer bulbs and flowers and plants start, don't they? So yes,
Yeah.
it's nice to have that sort of continuous color palette of change and all the of course spring with all the lovely greens.
Yeah, yeah, and the different shapes of flowers and the different locations of where they are, So the
Yes,
azaleas are blooming now, and other flowering bushes, and yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty, and they're in different levels, heights,
yeah.
and
Which
everything.
gives
It's
the
really
interest,
fun.
doesn't it?
Yeah, it keeps it real interesting. Keeps you looking, maybe noticing things that are in different places that you wouldn't have looked otherwise.
Mm. And is there anything else apart from the reading and hiking that you enjoy?
Ooh. Yeah, let's see. Ooh, these are good questions. I have to stop and think about it. I love to travel. I haven't been doing that a lot lately. We've been we moved back to the States a couple years ago, so we've kind of gathering all of our, local
Yes.
things and getting plugged in where we are. But I do love to travel. So that will be coming back
Mm.
soon,
And is
hopefully in the
that
next year or
within
so.
the States or is that worldwide?
I like traveling anywhere. So we were fortunate enough to live overseas for almost a decade. So we lived in Europe.
Oh,
And
right.
so,
Okay.
yeah, so we got to do a lot of traveling while we were there. And the more places you go, or maybe it's just me, the more places I go, the longer my list gets because I talk to other people that travel. I'm like, oh, you did what? Where? Oh, now that sounds interesting. Ooh, I would
Yes,
like to
yes,
see that.
yes, that's added to the list.
Yeah. And so my list, I keep going places and my list keeps getting longer. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm not doing this right. I don't know. Uh, So
Yeah.
yeah, we're going to Cancun in May, and then at the end of the year, I think we're going to take a cruise. I haven't decided where yet.
Mhm.
So we're looking at
They've become
getting
very
back in the
popular,
travel
haven't they,
game.
cruises?
Yeah, we used to go on them pretty regularly, like once a year for 5 or 6 years. We did
Hmm.
cruises every year. And it's a nice way to, if you're not sure about a destination,
Yes.
like if you would like it for an extended period, it's a nice way to kind of like just kind of try a few different places
Yeah.
and see what you like, and then you can go back and stay longer if you
Mm.
like. And if you don't like it, you're gone at the end of the day anyway, so
Yes. Yes.
you got to
Yes. I mean,
experience
that's a
it.
good way of doing it. I don't know whether I'd be able to uh, do a cruise. I'm not very good on the water. I know they're big ships, but
Yeah,
yeah, not sure.
I haven't ever gotten seasick, I don't think. But I know some people deal with that a lot.
Yeah.
With the big ships, they don't rock so much, so it
No, they're quite
doesn't.
stable, aren't
It's
they?
not. Yeah, it's not like being on a. Now I've seen you can find the scary videos on YouTube, right? If you
But yeah,
go look up like,
I see you look anywhere you
um,
can.
yeah, you can find it where like the ship is rocking and all the furniture is
Yeah.
sliding and people are falling down, and it looks like
Yes.
they're not gonna make it. You can find those. I've never been on one. I've been on a couple of choppy, like where we went through like the edge of a storm or something, but nothing too bad.
Mm.
So
Oh, well, that's not so bad. That's not so
yeah,
bad.
no.
Yes, I mean, I've done sort of traveling in the past. So I don't have a passport at the moment, but I've traveled in the past. But then there's lots to see in the UK. There's so many different sort of places, I suppose, and the same in the States. You know, you get
Hmm.
different states that are very different from where you live. I suppose the sort of northern states get sort of mountainous and all the rest of it. So, you know, you've got quite a diverse range, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah,
Of
very
holiday
diverse range.
destinations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes even I grew up in Texas, and if you go to West Texas, it's desert and mountains and canyons, and you go to East Texas, and it becomes forests and the piney woods and
Mm,
stuff. There's a hill country in the middle, and so it's very diverse just in that one state.
yeah.
But yeah, the U.S. is very diverse. Depending on what you're looking for, you can find it.
Mm. And I
Yeah.
suppose you could go really your whole life going to many places in the States, couldn't you? And not
Oh
actually
yeah.
have to leave and go overseas anywhere because of the diversity.
That is, yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, and everybody speaks it, well, mostly the same language, right?
Well, yeah,
Uh,
mostly, yes. I mean, I suppose the odd place where they speak their native tongue, but
yeah, well, there's dialects, right? I'm sure you got
uh,
the same in the
yeah,
UK, right? Where in certain parts you're like, I'm not sure that we're speaking the same language.
yes,
It's the
yes,
same
especially
here, right?
yes, over here it tends to be the people that live up in Newcastle
Okay.
and Sutherland, Sunderland.
Mm.
You need to tune in for at least a week before you even get to understand what they're talking
Oh, wow.
about.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's
quite
pretty intense.
it's really quite, and they speak very fast. So
Okay.
yeah, it's quite an interesting look up on YouTube. You know, people that live in Newcastle and
Newcastle.
Sunderland. Yeah, it's a language on its own.
Okay.
Um, well worth a listen, and you'll be saying exactly the same thing. Well, I would think you would be. Um,
Mm.
yes, my ex-husband's his family lived up that way, and
Okay.
some of his relatives, I just didn't. I just nodded in the right place because I couldn't understand a word they were talking about.
I think I've been in those conversations before. I'm like, I'm not sure what I just agreed to. I hope
Yes,
it was good.
yes.
I
Oh
agreed to
dear.
what I think you said. I
Yeah,
hope that's what you actually said. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So with the US, particularly like if you go to parts of like Louisiana, it's very mixed with the Creole. And
Yes.
so you can go just like look up like swamp people.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a whole TV show where they go out and do the alligator hunting and stuff, and they have like their
Right.
own. They kind of have their own words, and sometimes it's really hard to understand
Yeah, yeah.
language.
Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? Sort of north, south, east, west divide.
Mhm.
It's yeah, it's quite fascinating language if you look at it really, you know, why do people in America speak like they do? Why do we speak like we do? And why do the Japanese speak like that? You know, you could ask the same of
Mhm.
any language, couldn't you? It's really quite a topic.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's very strange to me that you can have like the same language, but it sounds different based on like where you are geographically. And I think that's pretty fascinating.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
and then, as you say, the local dialects. So
Hmm.
I live in a small town called Whittam, and way back in the yesteryear, when it was a very small town,
Hmm.
you used to be able to apparently you could tell whether somebody came from north, south, east, or west of the town
Oh, wow.
by the different way they spoke. And it's not a big town; it's minute in comparison to a lots of places. Yeah. So, and
Wow.
I imagine that that would have been the same throughout the country, perhaps the world, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same
That's really
apparently.
interesting. And we're so global now.
We are, yeah.
Good.
And apparently too, there is dialect in British Sign Language.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I've
Interesting.
learned
Okay.
very basic, very basic. And the lecturer was saying that she's she's profoundly deaf. And so if she went anywhere on holiday, she would struggle sometimes to understand what they were saying in BSL to her because it was somewhere other than where she lives. It's fascinating.
Interesting. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought of that as being
No.
different. Hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's an interesting yes, but that's again that's another language, isn't it? And I think there are
Yeah.
several BSLs around the world. I don't know whether I'm right in saying 15, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's really quite language is a yeah a curiosity.
It really is. Yeah. You don't really think about it. And we're so global now. Like, I mean, we're in different countries, we're in different parts of the world
Mm,
and able to have a conversation.
yeah.
We mostly speak the same language, although I'm sure like our accents are different or whatever, but like you can be exposed to so many different cultures and so many different languages and
Mm,
dialects now that to some degree it kind of waters down like your local dialect even,
yes.
you know.
Yeah.
I get told a lot I don't really have a southern twang. I don't know if that's true or not. You may be able to tell better than I can.
Well,
But
you're not as
yeah.
broad as other people that I've listened to from Texas. But then if you lived in Europe for a decade, that
Mm.
will have softened it down probably.
Yeah, probably. I'm sure when I get around, my people,
Then it comes out,
it
doesn't it?
comes out more. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A little more, I'm sure. I'm sure it does. But yeah, it's a kind of interesting because you do kind of absorb like the customs and the pronunciation perhaps
Yeah.
of the people you're around the most. And or I mean, even like sometimes I will catch myself. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Like there's a little bit of mimicry, but I think it's a way to connect with people. Or if they have an accent, you tend to speak more toward that accent.
Yep. You're right.
And
Mm.
yeah, maybe to help people understand you a little bit.
Yes, I think so. And I think, you want to be part of the team, don't you? So
Mm,
you would, I think. I mean, I remember when going to America, I was over there for 2 weeks in the 80s, and I came back with a twang. I mean, a lot of people over there thought I was Australian.
interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
why. I don't sound it, but then maybe I do in another country.
Maybe. Well, okay. To a regular American ear, New Zealand, England, and Australia accents are very similar. Like you
Oh,
kind of have to
interesting.
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way you use some of the vowels and stuff.
Yep.
There are things that will set you apart, but like
Mm,
with a lot of words, some of the pronunciation is very similar
mm.
to the American ear,
Oh,
you
well,
know.
maybe that's why then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so yeah, that might be it. Because I know like even in the US, like there's different, different areas still have some of
Mm,
their little accents or whatever,
mm.
and we probably all sound about the same to you.
Well, actually, I mean, yes, when we're on our networking,
Hmm.
it is quite. I sometimes have to tune in quite to some people to understand, and I know others here have to put the captions on because
Interesting.
they just cannot hear the words. I mean, I
Hmm.
can, um, but yeah, some people really struggle. So
Yeah, it's very
it's
interesting.
fascinating how we all hear different things, different times, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's really quite intriguing. But
Yeah, that it is really interesting. I think having so we lived for a little while in Asia, and before going there, I would have said, there are all these different countries over there, right? Like there's Japan and there's China, there's Korea and
mm,
there's North Korea and Philippines and Malaysia and all. and I would have just said, it just sounds Asian to me, right? Like from somewhere over there, but I wouldn't be able to tell you anything. Having been over there for a while, I started to kind of be able to tell. I'm like, oh, that is definitely not Japanese. That
Mm,
maybe is Korean, or maybe that's Chinese or a
yeah.
dialect from China. And so like just being exposed like for a longer period.
Yeah.
So like the more you speak with Americans, the better your ear will be to kind of
Tuned in. Yeah.
figure, yeah, hear the dialects or
Mm,
whatnot. I'm sure that's probably the same for anywhere. Like if
yes.
you've only ever met one person from there, they all kind of sound the same. That kind of sounds bad. That's like, I don't mean in a bad way, but like you're just your ear isn't attuned to
No,
like
that's right.
realizing that there are nuances in the way like this vowel shape is a
Mm,
little different or whatever.
yes.
You don't know that if you've only ever heard one area speak, you
Yeah.
assume they all kind of sound like that.
Yes. No, it is. It's quite an intriguing topic, really. But yes, I'm sure that we have enough for a further conversation, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's fascinating. And I think it's real interesting to listen to people's different accents and then be like, okay, so where is that from?
Mm,
And get better at figuring out like where people are from based on the way they pronounce certain things, you
yes.
know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Like,
well, we're,
mhm.
we're we're at our time. I like to sort of keep it to a short time so people can enjoy, the short chats. And
Absolutely.
maybe we can have another one,
Yeah,
in
this
a
is
few
super
weeks'
fun.
time. Part two maybe.
Part two. Okay, I
So
like it.
yes, people may watch this space. So thank you so much for our chat today, Danica. It's been great to get to know you a little bit more, and I'm sure the next one will be a little bit more as we go and ask more questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds great. Thanks
So
for having me.
that's my pleasure. Thank you so much, and yes, we'll chat again soon. Thank you.
Sounds good.